Okay, so it is 7:40. Allow me to start. I think the ones who join later will find us ongoing. For a minute. Hi, everyone. So this is me. I'm happy to be here. Karibuni sana for today's webinar. But you will allow me to switch off my camera, so at least then during the webinar, as we start off, towards the end, we can have a Q&A session. So asanteni and karibuni sana, we officially start. Do allow me to start with a word of prayer, with all protocols observed, all respect to the different religions. We'll start with a word of prayer. Thank you, God, for the gift of life and for bringing us together for this webinar today. We ask for your guidance and wisdom. May this session be productive and add value to each participant here today. Amen. Yeah, so today's webinar, we are looking at how do we master our holiday finances. And basically what we'll be doing is providing a guide towards holiday financial wellness. What are some of the practical strategies that we can employ so that we can manage our finances well, early enough, and get to enjoy a stress-free holiday, because we don't want to have situations where during the holidays, the holiday break, Christmas is coming, we are counting down to that. For most, you'd be taking a break. And when you do, instead of sitting and enjoying the moments, you're thinking, oh my God, January is coming, or maybe I have not planned well enough. I don't have gifts. What are we doing for Christmas? And it is 5 days to Christmas. So this is us, being everyone, starting to plan, to organize ourselves early enough, so that when that time comes, even as we are counting down parallel to us organizing our finances, so that when that season comes, we are able to be in the moment, enjoying with the ones that we are looking to spend the holiday season with. Yeah. So we are talking about financial wellness. So when you talk about financial wellness, for me, it's just being intentional with your finances. You're only able to achieve financial wellness when you are deliberate and intentional with all issues regarding your finances. And what that will do is it will help you to spend smartly. You end up doing just intentional purchases. You're dealing with your essentials. You will not have, you end up avoiding situations where, you're doing impulse buying, you're buying things which are non-essential and later on regretting it. You have a situation where now at least, there's stress reduction, because that anxiety that's related to my budget is not working, I don't have control over my spending and all that. When you are intentional with your finances, then that means you have control over your money management, and that bit now allows you to have reduced stress. You are able to avoid debt because, intentional with your finances means you plan properly from the beginning. Yeah. And when you plan properly, these are my expenses, this is my income, these are my expenses, these are my financial goals, this is how I'm going to save for my financial goals. And when you do that, then you're able to avoid all the impulsive purchases, which most of the time end up now getting us to look at getting, the digital loans or getting into credit card debt and all that. It also helps us to have meaningful experiences. And I think for me, I would just say personally, as I'm aging, I'm giving more priority to, you know, these meaningful experiences with the people around me, you know, with my networks. So if I'm able to plan ahead, if I'm able to organize my finances well, then that means now I can be able to focus on experiences, you know, spending my quality time with family and friends rather than, you know, running around doing last minute things which might end up, you know, busting my budget. Then there's a long-term stability, because when you organize early enough, when you're intentional, then that means you develop financial habits that will help you now, not just during the season. You know, like right now, we're going to talk about what can we be able to do to get us ready to enjoy the festive season, stress-free, financially stress-free. But these habits that we are looking to now put into practice, it does not mean it's just for the holiday season. You know, we can always employ this even after. They become habits that form and help us to secure a financial future and now achieve that a sustainable financial wellness life, you know, in the future. So when you think financial wellness, we're thinking smart spending, we are thinking financial stress reduction, we are thinking debt avoidance or proper debt management. If you have to get into debt, we are thinking about, you know, prioritizing creating meaningful experiences, you know, being in the moment, enjoying that quality time with your loved ones. We are thinking about those financial habits that we can be able to carry forward even after the season to help us now keep sustainably managing our finances better. Now, before we even go how to start organizing our finances, planning, financially planning for the holidays, it's good to take some time and see what's happening around us. You know, then this environment that we are operating in, this environment that we want to start planning our finances, how is it? Yeah, vitu kwa ground, kukoaje? Yeah. So we are looking at the environment that we exist in, and for us now here in Kenya, we are faced with erosion of purchasing power, and this is mainly when you look at the money that you have, your disposable income. So you've made some money either from maybe you're employed, you're a business person, you're doing some gig work, you've made some money. This money you're supposed to spend it on your essential expenses, to save and to invest. Now, if you look through your budget and you're seeing once you're done spending on your basic expenses, at most times you would hear people saying, I don't have much left, yeah, for me to be able to spend to even now say, I want to be able to plan for my holiday. So it's being able to have that in mind, that, you know what, this is what I am working with, this is what the income I have available, these are my essential expenses, but this is also what I want to be able to do. And then now you work within that framework. We have inflation rates. Currently, the inflation rate is at, I think, 3.6%. And this is just basically showing us that whatever money that I have now is decreasing in value at a rate of about 3.6%. So the prices of the things that I am looking to afford are going up, and that means then I'm able to afford less and less as time goes by. We are looking at currency volatility. You know, yes, we have to appreciate that at least the currency has tried to stabilize a bit in the recent months, but where we are coming from, we've had quite some volatility with the Kenyan shilling losing value. And, you know, because as Kenya, we are not independent in terms of production, so we do have to import stuff. And if our Kenya shilling, the value of a Kenya shilling is low, then that means the imports that we are making are expensive. And if we need these imports, either, you know, we are buying them directly or we are using them as raw materials. At the end of it, then whatever it is that we'll be consuming, we have to buy to consume, ends up being expensive. And all this, you know, just add up to financial stress, where I am thinking I feel like I don't have enough to cater for even my essentials. in the inflation rates are here, the currency volatility. If I'm looking at in terms of employment, the employment challenges. If you're looking for work, most of the companies are restructuring, which sometimes I think is just a diplomatic way of telling people, we might be getting rid of you, and that. So, there's a lot of uncertainty in the corporate world. For business people, you think, okay, maybe now I can try and set up my own business. Again, the environment may not be that supportive to you to set up and grow your business. So all these things, when you look at it, you might end up now resorting to getting loans to survive. That adds on to the financial stress. And I know it sounds like a lot of negatives, negative hits here and there. My purchasing power is being eroded. Inflation is here hitting me. Currency, so things are expensive. There are no jobs, or my business is not performing as well as I would want it to be. There's increased financial stress. But I want us to narrow this down and say, okay, fine, there's all these things. Some of them we have control, some of them we don't. But what can we be able to do? Because at the end of the day, we have to exist in this space, in this environment. So what can we be able to do? And for me, I think this is even more reason for us to say, you know what? Because this is where I'm operating, I need to be able to plan myself early enough. Yeah. So for me, I'm looking at this as reason enough for us to say, I want, despite all these things, I want to be able to have a good holiday season. And for me to be able to have a good holiday season, I want to start planning early enough so that irrespective of all these things, I can at least have those moments, create what we call dividend memories for during the holiday season. So let's look at this and derive some positivity from it, in that we are going to figure out how to be able to organize ourselves early enough so that we can, despite all this, still have enough time to enjoy the holiday season. Yeah. So then now we start looking at, so then how do I do my holiday financial planning? Where do I start? You have to start by setting goals. What for me is very important. What do I want to achieve? What do I want to say? I'm happy I did this at the end of that season, as you're going back, as we say, going back to normal life. What is it you'd want to have achieved for that holiday season? So we look at them with each point. And then once we set our goals for the holidays, we create a budget. Now we have our own I would say normal budget, our every month, every period budget. If you do your budget on a monthly basis or on a weekly or every fortnight, but now we are creating a budget for the holiday. Yeah, it is within our main budget. It's being funded by our main budget, but this is just specifically for the holiday season. And then once we do that, then we start saving for it, because this budget needs to be funded. Yeah, so we have to save. Then we have to save for it. And then we work on intentional spending. And this is where now we are looking at what are these practical strategies that we can be able to employ so that we do not regret come January, when everything is going back to normal, the expenses, all the January expenses are facing us and waiting for us to cater for them, and all that. So for me, these 4 key things. 1, we set our goals. This is what we would want to be able to achieve for this holiday season. We create a budget. We fund that budget by starting to save for it. And then now we look at practical strategies that can also be able to help us to survive, way past this holiday season. So we start with the goals. And for me, I pick 3 main goals, which I think we can all resonate with. 1 is to be able to set spending limits for each gift, each spending category that you have. Set a spending limit. If I'm looking to gift my children, each child, the spending limit, and that becomes it. I'm creating my budget and I am sticking to this budget. Yeah. So that is my first goal. My goal is to create this budget, include everything that I feel that is necessary. We look at some of the expenses later on, and then now we set a limit and we try as much as we can to stick, to stick to those limits. Then secondly, prioritizing meaningful experiences over material gifts, because again, we have to appreciate the fact that the holidays are coming. We want to enjoy. We might have to spend a bit more, but the holidays will come and go. January will come, February is here, and all those months we have all these expenses that are waiting for us. So we also have to be able to see if we can be able to do that. And part of the ways is to be able to prioritize. See, sometimes it's not all about spending money. Time is a very, very important gift, and that's part of for me. I think it's a gift that cannot be taken away from you. I can get your material gift that can get spoiled over time. You would have to maybe bin it or give it out. But if the experiences that we create together, hardly anyone can take that away from us. So for me, that is, I think, a goal as well that we can set for the holiday season. And then thirdly is, part of what people were talking about, where, yes, I want to be able to learn how to organize my finances so that, come post-holiday, I am still okay. I am able to, I'm able to enjoy, still financially stress-free, and that means we are also part of our goal for this holiday season is to be able to build a financial cushion so that we are able to be safe and secure even post the holiday season. Yeah. So, and for me, I think what is key is when we are setting these goals, if you do decide this and maybe add a few more goals, set those financial goals and then you commit to stick to them. Yeah, that is the first step. You set them and you commit to stick to them. So we say the first bit is we set the goals, and then second, we create a budget. And a budget is basically saying this is the amount of money we are allocating to our holiday budget, and this amount of money is going to cater for these expenses. And for me, I feel like this is the bit where now we start talking. We are looking at these expenses and thinking, so can I be able to understand what are all these expenses that I'm likely to incur? And then see the ones that are applicable to me, and then put those ones, categorize them in order of priority, and then see how much you do the costings for them, and then see now you start working on how to fund them. So some of the categories, some of the expenses that we're likely to incur during this holiday season, that you are more likely to put in your holiday budget, you're looking at food and beverages. So you're thinking about the holidays. We might want to have something, just something extra special from the usual, away from the usual. So if you're thinking something away from the usual, what is it? What are the ingredients that we need for it? Can we be able to get them? And sometimes, when you do this, and this is from experience, when you plan early enough, we talk a lot about meal planning as a way of cost saving, especially when it comes to the household expenditure. But when you're able to do this early enough, you're able now again to just figure out. So even with these expenses, how can I save within this, my food budget? How can I save in this food budget? You'll be thinking, can I get someone to go and get for me this, maybe this food in bulk? Buy those potatoes where you can get them cheaper. Come on, if it's going to the Soko, to the market and getting them from there, discussing it with the people that you're planning this holiday with. If you're doing it with family and you're all coming together and saying, okay, so this is what we want to prepare for all of us during this festive season. So what can you be able to do? Or I know someone, here we can go and buy things in bulk, and that becomes easier. So then even within that food budget, you're able to make small savings within that. You're thinking about all the snacks and the treats, these cookies. Can we make them? If you want to make Christmas cookies, can we make them at home? Because if you're going to make them at home, then you're basically creating meaningful experiences, and you most times saving up on a lot, because you are coming together, especially with the young ones. I'm a mother, I have three, so during this season we always come together, and I'm like, I'm not going to buy those cookies from the store. One, I'm not so sure how long they've been there for. And two, it's a way of just us sitting there and bonding. So we'll make, even if some of them will burn, but we'll make them together, we'll try and decorate them together, and all that stuff. So I am saving a bit on the cost side, but I'm also creating meaningful experiences with my children. So on the food bit, it's that, like for me, I like eating chapatis. I don't like making chapatis. So if we are coming together as family, I will look for someone who likes making chapatis and doesn't like eating them. So to make them, and then I will make something else, and then we will come together in that. But now this becomes easier to do when you start that planning process early enough, inform the other parties, start doing the food planning together. We have the bit for gifts, expenses, where you're thinking, am I going to be to be gifting people individually, or am I going to gift people as a group, or how am I even going to gift them? Am I going to make the gifts? Am I going to buy them? And if I'm buying, most of the time, if you start your gift buying early enough, you can, stop the sale, buy things when there's still enough of them in the store, and you can do price comparison, and all that. But as well, you can consider like group gifting. And this, I'll tell you, for me, I have nieces and nephews. So at times when I'm thinking about gifting, especially when, it's not someone's birthday, this is like a holiday, I would look at, if their ages are close to each other, then I would look at buying one gift that they can all use. Or maybe even just a gift as a family, like a family board game for the kids. You can buy them, the small bowling sets that they can be able to play together. So that, becomes one gift for each family, as opposed to looking at buying individual gifts for everyone. And sometimes I also find, like with the teenagers, I gift a lot of books as well. I am a reader, so I try to turn everyone into a reader. But instead of now buying a book, you could also consider just giving them a gift card, because as they age, they become very particular on what they like, be it clothes, be it the books they read. So instead of, going and maybe buying something, spending money and buying something, then it come and it's not appreciated, you'd rather maybe just do a gift card. And then, or maybe now say, do a gift card and then make a date and go together to the store, so that they can be able to redeem and pick something they like. So even then, you also get to understand what they like, and it becomes part of your memory dividends. Yeah. So that's on gifting. When you're looking at your expenses for gifting, it's, so how am I going to do it? Is it individual, or am I going to do it as a group? Then you have decorations. This, you can decide, am I buying? And if you're buying, buy them early enough. Sometimes you go to the store later, closer to Christmas, you find all the nice ones have been taken, and you're left with either now the really expensive ones. So you have to cough up a bit more to be able to do that. Or even just consider, can we make them at home? Some of these things, some art stuff with the family, you're able to do that. The other bit is travel expenses. So are we going anywhere? If you do, it's very helpful to be able to plan that early enough, start paying for it for those early enough, the lipa na pole pole, all that. Are we going to do accommodation? Is it an Airbnb? And if it's an Airbnb, then that means we have to carry some of our stuff. What is that we need to carry? Can we plan for that as well? And all that. So travel expenses, yeah, very, very important. This, to be honest, if you are thinking of traveling during the holidays, usually it's quite expensive, a bit more expensive compared to the normal days. So this needs planning even earlier. Yeah, maybe 6 months or 8 months prior to to the holiday season, but you would still be able to do it now. Still have two months or so to that. The other expense that you're likely to look into is entertainment. This is, are we going to go somewhere for entertainment? But for me, my tip would be, no, if it's you're coming together as a family, you have the young ones there, really create entertainment for each other. The young ones can do something. If there's one who plays an instrument, they can play for that. Bring a game together, play, do a running beat, share some stories, make people laugh, reminisce when you are growing up and share with the young ones. So such things where really there's no money that you're spending, as opposed to trying to go out, because we realize that sometimes going out during this festive season, you're looking at places to go and you're looking at how much they're charging per person, and yeah, so you're just like, okay, let's try and see if you can make these memories within our budget. Yeah. So as you can see, these are some of the expenses that you're likely to incur, but within each expense category, there are ways, if you do take time enough, there are ways that you can be able to save. Yeah. So it does not mean that you will not be spending on it. You will be spending on food. You'll be spending on gifts. You're likely to spend on decorations, on travel expenses, on entertainment. But in each of them, there are ways that you can save. So when you look at each of them, ask yourself, so what are the essentials? What are my priorities in this? What do we absolutely have to have? And then are there any avenues that we can be able to save, however small? Because those savings are what now come to save you in January. Yeah. And a quick note there is, as well, save for those unexpected ones, where you're saying, oh, you know what, we're not traveling, so I don't have any travel expenses. And then maybe your parents call and say, oh, this year we feel like we want to come and celebrate with you. So, facilitate our travel. So then now you end up having travel expenses. So even as you do that, engage everyone who you're likely to spend your holidays with, and then just try and see, are there any expenses that maybe you've not put on your holiday, on your current holiday budget, but because of maybe the activities that the ones you're looking to spend the holiday with, they're likely to affect your holiday budget. So then now you have that, you add that provision for that one. Yeah. So that makes our budget for spending, in creating our budget in the holiday. I would share some saving tips when it comes to holiday trips. I know most of us think of the holidays as a time to relax, and at times, we want to relax away from our usual setting. If that's the case, then ideally we have to start saving early. Pick up the destination, say this is where we want to go, get all the costings. And when I say, when you're looking at all the expenses, you're thinking not just how are we going to get there, how much will it cost for us to stay there? Think of any other expense that you're likely to incur when you're there. Are you thinking of doing any activities when you're there? How much will it cost? Yeah. So that you don't reach there and you realize, oh, we would want to maybe go around and see and sightsee, but then that means now we have to have some transport, which we had not budgeted for. So think through all that, and that thinking through process becomes easier when you start doing it early. Then to motivate one another, I always say, you can use a savings challenge. If you're doing it as family, if you're thinking of going somewhere as a family, maybe nuclear family or an extended family, come together, set like a fund together and say, you know what, we are going to be chipping in here for all of us. We've settled on this is the place we want to go. This is how much it's going to cost. So we are motivating one another, like, let's keep saving, so that at least when that time comes, we are all we can all go. And for me, I always find when you go on a holiday and you have saved for it, like this money that I'm spending, I was intentional about putting it aside for my holidays. By the way, you end up, I think you enjoy your holidays more than the impromptu ones are good, but financially impromptu, may not really work. The other bit is as well is shop the sale and plan ahead. So if you need anything for this holiday, and that's the goodness of planning ahead. Where are we going? What activities can we partake in when we are there? What do we need? Maybe I don't have a costume and the place is really nice and sunny. I want to go and swim. I can be able to look where is a place where there's a sale. I can, so that I can purchase one, as opposed to reaching there and I'm like, what? I don't have, my kids don't have a floater, so now I have to start buying an expensive floater when we're there. So plan for such things ahead. And then how do you do the early saving and the savings challenge? You set up a dedicated savings fund, what we call a sinking fund. And sinking fund is basically, this is our intended future financial obligation. We want to go on holiday. I want to go on holiday with my girls. I want to go on holiday with my boys or with my family. This is how much it's going to cost. So we've set up this fund. We pull money in that fund. So, when the fund is nice and heavy with funds, then when that time comes, we will remove the money from the fund and go and spend it, because, we had intended that was the intention of having this fund. So then it sinks because now it is empty, but then now, you can start pulling money again for something else. So for me, that's the best definition I can give for a sinking fund. But it's very important. Chumz have an avenue where we can come together as a group, create an account, and then everyone just chips in and saves there, even as we count down to the holiday season. If you have an opportunity to take up any other gig or a consultancy that can be able to earn you extra money, we've talked about the erosion of purchasing power. So if you have an opportunity to have an extra income stream, yeah, and this can come in handy, not just for the holiday, your holiday budget, but even your post-holiday budget, and especially during the festive season, there's a lot. If you're in the gig economy, people are trying to close the year. There are small companies looking for accountants to be able to do their numbers, be able to create their strategy for the next year. So if you're in that sort of consultancy, then you're able to take up that work, and make some money on the side, and now this money goes into your fund, maybe now for post the holiday. So this will be what is likely to help you come January and all that. So be on the lookout for those opportunities between now and December as well. So if you take them up, that one becomes, because that is not part of your, the main budget that you have or your main income source, you take this to be now your cushion for post the holiday season. Yeah, so that should be the priority for those ones. My practical tips when it comes to intentional holiday spending, I always say try and see if you can get gifts that you can make instead of buying, and not just for you, even for the young ones, the ones with families, young ones. I like the beads that we normally buy in a pack, and the kids can make like bracelets for their cousins or the friends that they want to give. If you compare buying the different bracelets for each of those ones and then buying that kapak and helping them to make the beads, there's a very big difference. So always look at what is there an option for us creating something meaningful as opposed to going to the shop and having to buy these things. Then we talked about creating that detailed gift list, and then you stick to that list. Who do I need to gift? Who do I absolutely need to gift? And what am I? Set a limit for that and stick to that one. Then you as well set a total spending limit, because sometimes and it's psychological, because when you set that limit in your mind, you're like, what? I don't want to go past 5,000 when it comes to gifting. You'll find yourself working within that 5K budget. You're out there, you're looking, I have 10 people I need to gift, I only have 5,000 shillings, so I am going to stick to it. So you start looking. So if there's 10 of them, then that means for each I am looking for 500. That's it. And you work within that. Then as well, we've talked about prioritizing experiences over material gifts. I cannot emphasize that enough, especially for this holiday season, and especially in this environment that we are operating in, where the purchasing power is being eroded, the inflation is where it is. A lot is happening within. So we are always looking, we always need to be intentional about how do we spend the money that we are making so that we have enough to save for the future and also invest so that we can be able to grow our wealth. Do comparative shopping. Again, this one, you're only able to do it if you start early enough. Yeah. Go out. What do I need to get? Who do I need to get for? And sometimes you might end up having to strike some people off the list when it comes to the gifting. People looking for or look for alternatives. And this is where now you have, so this is what I'm looking to get them, and then do a bit of comparative shopping. When you're out, between now and November, when you're out, you see something that might be good for someone you are thinking of gifting. It is within the budget that you've set, maybe even slightly less. Pick it, and keep it. Yeah. Last is the one for me, I consider one of the best is potluck, where everyone, if you're coming together with your friends, if you're coming together with your family, let everyone just chip in whichever way they can. I say I eat chapatis. I don't like making chapatis. Someone else can bring the chapatis. I will do the chicken. Someone else will do the rice. Someone will do kachumbari. Someone who's good, and all that. And then now we come together and we enjoy each other's strengths when it comes to food and all that. We come together, those ones who are good at entertaining us, entertain us. And you'll see when now you start considering this, you end up spending less. Yeah? So I think for me, my key takeaway when it comes to dealing with your holiday finances, we've talked about creating your goals and your budget. So you outline those essential expenses and you start with the essential, prioritize them because there could be so many, but not all of them might end up, will end up on the final list. So it's good to be able to prioritize so that you can also avoid, the non-essentials and overspending. Then have an estimate. You can work with, so how much have I spent before? But because now that I'm starting this planning process early, what is my estimate for these holiday expenses? And then now you can think about, if I was thinking of hosting a party, is it feasible or can we work on something else? Then well, again, we've said prioritize your spending categories, see where you can be able to cut back because you have the option of you have the option to be able to prioritize your expenses. Then really, set realistic goals, especially when it comes to saving. We've talked about we are saving for January and beyond. Yeah, in as much as we are coming together during the holidays, we are starting to save for the holidays now. We also have to think we still have to survive and pay bills even beyond. But we need to be able to set realistic goals for our holiday expenses and even beyond, because between now and the holiday, we still have bills we have to pay. We have financial obligations that we have to meet. So can we be able now to, and this is where financial literacy skills comes into play. When you're looking at your income streams, when you're looking at your expenses now, and you're adding the expense for, the holiday expenses and your saving expenses for post the holiday, you need to set realistic targets so that you don't you don't over squeeze yourself now and be financially fatigued even during the holidays. You won't be able to enjoy. So just set realistic targets and work with those targets for your holidays and even post the holiday season. And then as well, just take time once in a while to track. The goodness of starting early is as things change, you go back to your budget and say, okay, so this has changed. I don't think I will need this expense anymore. So even if you've set your holiday budget, it does not mean that now it's cast in stone. You can always make adjustments as you grow closer to the holiday. And that, so for me, those would be my key. And I think what I would want to emphasize is the bit where please create those goals, get to understand, and now start and working through what really do I want to be, what is really key for me for the holidays, and then set realistic saving goals, then start saving. If you've not started saving yet, start now, have that budget in mind and start saving now. You are better off starting now as opposed to starting in December 1st before. So, you'd be able to do so much between now and November and come December as opposed to starting then. So set those realistic goals and then start saving now. Very, very important. Yeah. And I think that's it from me. Again, a big thank you to Chumz for coming through on this one. I think they had shared part of a lot of their communities has started saving for the Christmas holidays, and we felt, yes, it's very important to have this discussion early enough. So for those of us out here who we want to start counting down, but we had not really thought, even as we count down, let's put ourselves ready financially for that season. It's good to do so early enough. So you can reach Chumz, you can reach myself. I have shared the links to my Instagram page, to my Facebook, to my TikTok handle, and my YouTube. I think I had mentioned when we started that this has been a series of webinars. This is not the first. We've had 3 previous webinars concentrating on budgeting, because together with Chumz, we are trying to empower everyone with financial literacy skills. Now, those webinars are available on my YouTube channel, Finance for Families. So you can check them out. They'll give you a few pointers here and there if you haven't, when it comes to budgeting. This one as well is recorded, and I will share it on my YouTube channel. So, you can head there and be able to go through maybe later on, or share it with your community, your networks as well, for those ones who are not able to be there today, so that they can also start planning for their holidays early. So happy to take questions now. So anyone with a question, please do either share it on the chat, or you can raise, you can unmute and ask. Thank you for all the love. I'm seeing some love coming through on that. I think each week, so that at the end of the year. Thank you. As I'd said, if you'd want to share, maybe you have a tip that you have tried out in the previous holidays and it worked for you, and you'd want to share as well, you can share with the rest of us. Yeah, but if I can just stress on that savings bit, it makes a very big difference. That honestly, and starting it early enough, you can imagine if maybe you're thinking, I want to be able to travel, maybe to go and spend some time with my parents there in the village, and I would need about maybe 15,000 or so to be able to do a bit of shopping for them and go and spend the holidays with them. If you think of just coming up with that 15,000 in December, might not be, might be quite a stretch. But if you start now and you say, you know what, in October, I'm going to save 5K. In November, I'm going to save 5K. In December, I'm going to put 5K. And you have your 15,000 and you travel and you shop and you sit there and you enjoy the moments and you eat the chicken or whatever it is they've prepared for you there. All relaxed, knowing that, you're coming back. You're not coming back to debt to try and pay. Because for me, I always find, when we're trying to do those last minute things, we end up spending more because, as I said, you go to the stores, you find maybe all the good, no, nicely priced items have already gone. The cheap quality stuff have already gone. What is left is expensive. And because now you feel like I really need to you end up buying those expensive stuff. You burst your budget and you think, okay, now I'll just put it on my credit card or I'll sort it out in January. And then now in January, you're looking at your finances. You're paying off your debt. You've borrowed some money from people to be able to fund your holiday. And then you realize by the time you've paid all those, you're left with very, very little money to cater for yourself in January. And that's what usually now happens to most of us in January. But if you start thinking through, so what expenses do I have in January? If I'm a parent, the kids are going back to school. So I need to budget for that. Is there anything I need to buy for them in terms of like books, shoes, uniform, all that? If it is maybe me, is there anything that I need? Any one-off expense that I have to take care of in January? If I have a car and I have to pay car insurance, is it in January? All those things. If you start thinking about January now, and not just thinking about it, but listing down all the possible expenses or all the expenses that you have, it's always what you're able to plan for it. I've seen here, I count myself so rich, but all my monies are in people's hands. How do I deal with those who keep borrowing but never give back? It's very annoying. Always say, yeah, so this is so we're looking at, it's one of those things we always think about. Oh my, how do I handle this? But for me, this is the way I put it. If you're able to, if this is likely to happen, and it is likely to happen especially in our African setting, but be intentional about it in that you put it as part of your budget. Put some funds where you're thinking, this for me is in case anyone reaches out and they need some assistance, it goes there. So it could be, my cap is 3,000 a month. So this 3,000, if maybe a relative or maybe there's something that they need and they reach out, it will come from this pool. If no one comes, then this money for this month goes into my savings pot. Next month, I will have that as well. But when you give it, for me, to be honest, for your own financial peace of mind, look at it as charitable giving. Yeah, think of it as family support, not really like they will pay me back. Even if they do pay you back, well and good, let it go to your savings pot. But if not, it just becomes charitable giving. I think for your own peace of mind, I think that will work. So Lamek is asking, I think you're done. How do I assess my financial wellness? And then he continued on to ask, and also how do I achieve my financial priorities more responsible in the context of needs vis-a-vis wants? This one is from a very personal aspect, because financial wellness is very different for each of us. So one is to be able to identify. So for me, what is my definition of financial wellness? And then from that, you're able to get so what are my goals for me to be able to achieve this financial wellness? And then now you work towards those goals. And that's why I say sometimes it's very good to work with a financial advisor, someone who can do like a one-on-one with you, and you say, this is for me, this is what I'm trying to attain. And then now from that, they can help you now to be able to derive your financial goals and your values, and then now create a plan for you to be able to realize that. But yes, so it's being able to understand what for me, for us, it's very different. Someone, it would just be, if I'm able to cater for all my needs, and if I have aging parents and my aging parents, for me, that is it. Someone else would be, I want to be able to include a holiday, one holiday every year into that, and that, and all that. So then you're able now to also put that into your financial goals. So how do I achieve that? How do I say for that holiday, that one holiday that I want to do every year, to go and unwind, and all that. So yes, for that one, I would say for something more deep, it would be good to work with financial advisor on that one. Shani Gracie says, do you have a YouTube channel where you can learn more? Yes, I do. I will share again the links. It's my YouTube channel is Finance for Families. And as I had mentioned, this webinar is being recorded. I will share it there. I do share, we've shared the 3 previous webinars as well. So I've shared the link to my YouTube channel. The 3 previous recorded webinars are there as well. And my Instagram channel or my TikTok handle as well. So you can follow. I share a lot more on financial literacy, creating your own personal statement, which now, at least will incorporate your financial wellness in that. How do you budget? How do you invest? What are the investment options that are out there, and all that? So please do subscribe and follow. But I've also shared my contacts, so reach out. I do one-on-one personal financial advisory, where we'll go through your personal finance and see. So some of the questions might be very personal. We always say finance is very personal, and all that. So we can be able to go through all that. Thank you. So here, what I think had asked, do you have a savings calendar and do you recommend them? Those calendars that tell you to save 5K each week, or amounts that increase each week or at the end of the year. Yes. So yes, they do help. We are all very different. There are those ones who thrive when we do it as a group. So we're not really using the calendar, but we're using each other, challenging each other. There are those ones who are very set. I set, if this is my calendar and I have the reminder to save, maybe if it's 5,000 every month, or maybe 1,000 every week, or you set that target, a realistic target. And I think that's very important, to set something that is realistic, because it's only something that is realistic that you're able to do sustainably. Yeah. So if you try something that overstretches you, you'll find you'll do it for 2-3 months, and then after that, because a lot more is suffering, you end up not being able to keep up with either if it is your budgeting or if it's your saving goals and all that. So even as you are setting your saving goals, it's good to set realistic saving goals. Of course, the amounts will change as your financial circumstances change, but it's very good for you to keep it within a realistic perspective, so that you can keep doing it sustainably. So yes, so if you're a person who, like a savings calendar would work for you, please do go for it. If you're one who thrives in challenging, one another as a group, please do go for it, because at the end of it, either way helps you to develop that saving habit, and now that you're able to keep on doing even past achieving your saving goals as well. Okay, thank you so much. It's 8:30. If no more questions, allow me to end the webinar now. Again, a very big thank you to the Chumz team for coming through. I've shared the contacts there. They have a very good platform to help us save, learn how to save and create that saving habit. So please do check them out. As well, follow me, reach out. I've shared my contacts there. We'll be sharing this webinar on the YouTube channel, so you can be able to subscribe and follow and maybe watch later. Do share as well, as we've said, with your networks. This is a series of webinars that we'll keep doing, trying to simplify and getting people to understand how to do just basic financial literacy skills. We've done budgeting. We are looking to do more on savings, getting people to understand how to save and what are the saving opportunities that are there. So please do continue engaging with us. Reach out, share, and yes, thank you very much for joining me today. I'm looking forward to hosting you in another webinar coming soon. Do have a lovely evening, and let's put into practice what we've learned, because that's the only way we'll be able to see the difference. Yeah. Thank you so much. We are free to leave. Asanteni.